one of the benefits of platform as a service and SQL Managed Instance is that you don't have to take care about deployments and maintenance events, as all the underlying physical and logical infrastructure, including SQL, are upgraded on customer behalf. Let's learn more about deployments and maintenance. When it comes to the SQL Managed Instance, there are two deployment types that are happening. One that are focused on physical machine maintenance and the hosts, and another one that covers the platform services maintenance, including Service Fabric that ensures high availability in SQL Managed Instance, the guest, the SQL, and satellite apps running on these machines. Upgrades that are happening for platform maintenance are going through safe deployment practices, which means that first code is validated in integration environments through internal development testing procedures, and then after thorough validation, the bits are being packed and starting to flow toward the production. They are not immediately deployed worldwide, but it goes through a rollout pipeline. First being deployed in Canary regions, then going through pilot phase, then progressing toward early regions, and then at the very end, the broad rollout starts. And even in broad rollout phase, the bits are deployed first in region pairs 1 and then in region pairs 2, which ensures that if you have instances that are part of the geo failover group setup, don't get the upgrades at the same time. And what are the maintenance windows? Well, once the code reaches out the region where your instance is deployed, the maintenance windows ensure that slots when these deployments occur are narrowed. And this applies for no matter if it is patching on the physical machine or platform services. And if host or VM that is being patched during this window contains primary replica, the failover will happen. There are three options available today. The default one, which means that any day in the week, starting 5 p.m. until 8 a.m. next day, is a candidate for executing the maintenance event. The so-called weekday slot that spans across Monday to Thursday, but in narrower time span, 10 p.m. in the evening until 6 a.m. in the morning next day, and the weekend slot going from Friday through Sunday. This doesn't mean that each of these days will contain upgrade, but what this means is that these days are candidates when deployments can happen. And instances are online during this entire slot except during the failover moment, and typically there are 1 to 2 failovers during the slot with typical duration of around 10 seconds. And in case of business critical service tier, these failovers have shorter duration due to the nature of the always on availability group setup and local storage. And what happens during the window? When window opens, one by one VM or host machine are being patched. If all VMs or hosts that are carrying VMs are patched during that window, event is completed. But if not, then this event must be extended for the next day or next week, depending on the maintenance window configuration. Let's go for a quick demo how to configure a maintenance window. It is pretty simple. During instance creation, on additional settings tab, we will see the option for maintenance window. And you can see the three options that we talked about. Once the instance is created, you can change this configuration easily by going to some other slot. And in addition to this, you can configure alerts, which can help you to stay up to date and be notified before and during the deployments. These alerts are sent 24 hours in advance before the window, once when the window is opened, and once when the window is closed. So to get notified, go to Service Health and Health Alerts, click to create new alert rule, and on the Condition tab, select the SQL Managed Instance, or if you want to add another services that are part of the environment together with SQL Managed Instance, you can include them. Regions, where these resources are deployed, and for the event type, select planned maintenance. How this looks in practice. Let's imagine that for your SQL Managed instance, you have selected the weekend slot, the Friday to Sunday, because it is the working days are peak hours for your workload. If the deployment is scheduled for the Friday, and it should start at 10 p.m. local time, the notification about planned maintenance event will be sent on Thursday. On Friday, the new notification will be sent before the window opens, and once the window is opened, you can expect the failovers in that time frame between window start and window end. If everything is being upgraded by the end of that window, on the Saturday morning, you would get notification that event is completed. But what if the event is not completed? Well, in that case, you will get notification that the event is rescheduled, which means that it will be continued on the next available slot. Since this slot spans across a couple of days during the weekend, on Saturday evening, you will get new notification that the event is starting again, and eventually the next day it will be completed. Now, what about scenario where we also have the weekend slot, but the deployment will start on Sunday? On Saturday evening, you will get a notification that the event is starting on Sunday, and it is completed by Monday morning. In case that it is not completed on Monday morning, you will get notification it is rescheduled, but it will not start the next day. It will actually start the next Friday because that is the defined slot for the managed instance deployments. And eventually it will complete the next day. And how to become resilient to deployment events? Well, from the gateway perspective, because the gateways are part of the managed instance infrastructure, you should choose the redirect mode for the connection over the proxy mode that is another available option. And from the database perspective, from the SQL restarts, implementing retry logic is something that should eliminate the impact of the restarts. In case of long-running jobs, then it is advised to run them in the periods that do not overlap with the maintenance window base.